I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so I'm on a mission to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I'm so delighted to have a dynamic duo of women with me today. I've got Karen Amster-Young and Pam Godwin with me, and they wrote the fantastic book, The 52 Weeks. Ladies, welcome. I'm so glad you're with me today.
Hi.
Good to hear your voices. I love when I have a tag team, and it's great to have you here today as co-authors. And I want to tell the listening audience a little bit about you. First, about Karen. Karen Amster-Young is a marketing and public relations veteran, and she's amassed many PR awards, including a spot on PR Week's 40 PR Stars under 40. And Karen's also a freelance writer and lives with her husband and daughter in New York City. And Pam Godwin began her career as a caseworker for a nonprofit refugee resettlement agency. And after earning her master's degree in elementary education, she taught in the New York City public schools as a classroom teacher and a literacy specialist. She also lives in New York City with her husband and her children. And as a native New Yorker myself, ladies, I miss the Big Apple, so I hope Manhattan is treating you well.
It is. It's great still.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so let's unpack this. Tell our listeners how you came together, first as friends and colleagues, to write this book, The 52 Weeks.
I'll go first. This is Karen.
Great. Thanks, Karen.
Hi. So we actually were friends. Our girls went to preschool together.
Oh, and, great.
So now they're in middle school. Pam has two. I have one. And we, remained friends. And we were out one night having drinks a few years ago now, and found ourselves complaining, which we didn't like, that we were finding ourselves complaining a little bit too often about kind of not getting out of our comfort zones and not doing new things. So over a few drinks that night, we kind of came up with the idea very organically, actually, and really started, we vowed that we were going to do something new or different each week for 52 weeks and start blogging, actually. We weren't even thinking about a book. We did it as a blog at first because really it was the only way we could figure out how to be accountable to one another and also share our stories. And, Pam, she could tell you, but she's especially a private person and was very hesitant, but I think we both really wanted to shake things up a bit.
I love the accountability factor that you talk about. I had a similar experience when I wrote my first book. It started as a blog, and you're right. You build this community, and people are communicating with you, and you feel legitimate, right? Because you've got the blog, and there are people out there that can have your back and hold you accountable.
Absolutely, but I think we were definitely more focused on the accountability to almost one another.
Wow.
And then, yes, it's great when you get the followers and other people trying to start their own 52-week project. But that pressure, so to speak, of having a side-by-side column, we didn't do a very traditional blog. We actually had it set up where whatever I chose to do from my 52 list, which we'll talk more about in a few minutes, or whatever Pam chose to do, were side by side, so that it was like, okay, what are you doing this week? You got to get the post up.
Yeah.
And that was a great way of, like anything, like whether you start running or any goal that you may have, small or big, being accountable to somebody else really helps.
Excellent. So what kinds of things did you hold yourselves accountable for? How did you start this great wish list of things to do over the year?
Well, initially it did start out as, let's try and just do some seemingly fun things just to kind of shake things up a little bit and have a little, play a little bit more. Yeah. So this is Pam. So Karen and I each created our own, the next day, really, after the night that we went out, we honestly met together, hit the ground running, and we each made our own lists. I think that I had, 27 or 28, and Karen had about the same. We did not have, full disclosure, we did not have 52 at that point.
That's okay.
We created a combined list because even though we were doing this together, she and I are very different people, and we definitely had different things that we were interested in, but we also wanted to do some things together. We wanted to support each other independently, but we also wanted to do some things together. So we each created a list, and they ranged. Some were somewhat more adrenaline-inducing. Karen test drove Maserati. I went rock climbing, but some of them were, silly little things. Karen's first blog entry was about trying to eat blueberries for the week, to become more, health conscious and more aware of wellness issues for her.
I actually had them this morning.
Yeah, so they really
well done.
did. It really ran the gamut of things that were frivolous, things that were adrenaline inducing, and things that were sometimes a little bit more internal. As the project went on, we started to realize that we were kind of more interested, I guess, in smaller things than actually really having, having fun and going out and just doing for the sake of, for no other reason than just, enjoying a little play date for ourselves.
And the small things, I mean, I want to clarify what Pam said. It wasn't necessarily frivolous. I mean, for me, doing some of the seemingly small things were actually steps towards maybe getting the confidence to conquer bigger things.
Right. No, the frivolous things were the driving Maseratis and going rock climbing and going to a shooting range. Those were the just for fun items. But as time went on, we realized that, it was the volunteerism or reflecting and doing small little things, deciding that it was important to take a walk, once a week in the woods, and these little items that we forgot to do to nourish ourselves, and were the ones that became much more prevalent and much more important, really.
Well, see, that's what I love about this book, ladies. I know that now it's conscious, but in the beginning, you might not have realized that you were laying the groundwork for so many other people who could experience your blog and who now have read your book. You're helping them build confidence and, as you said, reflect and give back and try something new. And that's incredible. What a gift. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'd love to hear the evolution of the blog to the book, because I know a lot of my listeners have a book in their brain, right? But how do you get it on paper? And I think blogging is a great first step. So tell us about that journey.
It is a great first step, but it's certainly it's very time consuming. We're very honest about the fact that, sometimes life gets in the way or throws you a curveball. So you have to be very disciplined. And that's all right. Yes, it's great to have a blog if you're a writer, I think, because it gives you a forum and a vehicle, to put your thoughts and your words out there. So just to answer that immediate question, sure, a blog is a great first step for the book. We weren't thinking that way at all. I mean, like I said before, for us, it was more about being accountable. And if you don't tell anybody that you're there, if you don't tell anybody what you're doing, and I put the "tell anyone" in quotes, then you're less successful. As a matter of fact, there have been studies done about that I think there's a 10% difference in success rate if you do it with the support of a friend or tell somebody about what you're trying to do. So.
Right. Now, what about the nuts and bolts, though? How did you decide to take, the genesis of the blog and turn it into a book? How did you get to that point where you were actually writing things down?
Well, it's funny. I'll answer this. It's Karen, and then Pam, I'm sure, will want to add also. I think that as time went on during our initial 52-week project, we realized, not only were we getting a following, but, some initial publicity was very exciting. And I think that the light bulb went off, not just from the responses from fans and followers, but from some of the local and regional media attention we were getting, that, there's a bigger message here. We are not the experts. We always say that. So we started kind of thinking about a book and realized that a lot of our activities fell into the 10 different categories, from relationships to wellness to, Pam mentioned, volunteering and giving back. And so we started kind of categorizing all the things we did into those they became chapters, and that's how we structured the book. And then Pam maybe can add a little bit more.
Right. I mean, as Karen said, when the idea for the book initially came to be, there had been some people suggested to us, you have there's something here, but really what we had were just our blog entries, which were available already online. So, as Karen said, we really weren't the experts, and it wasn't for us to say, look, this is what we did. So we knew that we needed to get other people in to help me here.
Yeah, no, it's the book is a combination of our personal stories and anecdotes, and then we went out and got 20, more experts in
Right.
all different areas that
And that's why I
really,
think it flows so well, ladies, right? Because it's your personal experiences woven in with expert wisdom and advice. So it's a great
Right.
combination.
Right. And that, that's ultimately how the book was structured. There are excerpts of some of our posts and some of the things that we did, but then with that, we've brought in an amazing cachet of experts who offer their advice, in the different categories, and as well as next steps and different ideas that you
That's
can
great.
then bring forward.
right.
And how did you pursue them? Did you find them willing participants? What a great project. Were they eager to jump on board?
Yeah, a combination of reaching out to people we didn't know, and from our research, we unveiled, like a lot of different amazing people that would be ideal for the book, as well as personal friends and contacts that we knew would really add value to the book. So it's a fun. It's not the book. What I love about it, and I hope our fans do, is that it's not like you don't have to sit down and read it in one sitting or
Right.
even in a week. It's kind of the kind of book you can kind of skip to the chapter that you're most interested in, get a little motivated from a tip or two or a story or two, and there's great lists in the back with ideas for each chapter to kind of create your own 52 list. And I think it's a very kind of light how-to book or a blueprint, really to help you get going again if you want to shake things up.
So has it changed both of your attitudes on how you live your lives? Do you have this discipline now, as you mentioned earlier, and this sense of self-accountability?
I've had to remind myself sometimes, I could be my own worst enemy. This is Karen speaking. I think that it does help in that I'm quicker to be less hard on myself,
Yeah, good.
pat myself on the back more. I also continuously say that, if you can't do something for an hour or a week, just doing something for 10 minutes can give you amazing confidence. And, that 10 minutes turns into 10 hours or 10 days. So it's those kind of little messages and motivational little phrases that have stuck for me, and I think I've gotten better about. Pam, I don't know for you.
Yeah, I mean, but also it's we're definitely all works in progress,
Right.
and
Sure.
it's not something that changed us. It gave us a confidence boost, and it made us more aware, and it brought us back to where we wanted to be, to then keep moving forward. But we're always, you always want to keep moving forward.
Yeah, you
and
need tune-ups. Everybody needs
Right.
a tune-up. So that's what's also great about it. You can get unstuck for a while, and you may feel stuck again, or like I said before, life may throw you a few curveballs, so you kind of have to regroup and revisit, and that's okay.
But I think, for me at least, this is Pam. My mindset definitely did change in certain aspects of my life. Absolutely, there was definitely a shift, because there was a feeling of real accomplishment that I had probably lost at some point along the way.
Yeah.
And just the act of completing the book and putting it out there for others, that was
It's huge. Yeah, that's great. So, ladies, I hope you understand what an amazing inspiration the two of you are to so many others, certainly your fans and your readers. Do you find people seeking you out for advice? Are they stopping you on the street saying, "What about this?"
They're not quite stopping us on the street, but that's okay. We got some great emails throughout the last year. I mean, the book only came out the end of 2013, but even before that, we would get some really interesting emails, and thanking us because maybe they traveled for their first time alone. Somebody traveled for
Yeah.
the first time without their husband, or something as simple as trying a new recipe. I mean, people were writing us. Everybody's comfort zone is different. Everything that people have to work on is different. So it was really great to see the variety.
Right, but I've also had friends of mine who weren't quite aware of this sort of other side of me that had,
Yeah.
because I am a very private person. So for them to come out, and constantly say, what an incredible idea, what an incredible thing that you've accomplished. help me with this, help me with that. And you forget that, I had been looking at these women, especially, some of my very successful friends who are real, high powered Manhattan women who have come to me and said, well, what about this? And I can't believe you did that. Help me with this. So that's been very eye opening and very refreshing, to know that it did affect others, without me even realizing it.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. I love the concept, ladies, that you just talked about, tune-ups and baby steps and taking those little incremental movements, right, to boost your confidence. And it might be something seemingly small that changes your whole outlook, right, or changes your ability to be self-confident. So bravo. So
Yes.
how do we buy the book? Tell us how we buy the book, how we follow you online.
Well, there's a few ways. We have a very active website, the52weeks.com, numeric 52. So it's
Right.
the52weeks.com. You can, book information is on our website, which will link you to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, et cetera. But, or you can get the book directly, through most of the major website sellers. We're in a variety of Barnes and Nobles and local bookstores in the metropolitan New York area. But throughout the rest of the country, go to Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, Amazon.com, and you can purchase it there.
Great. So plans for another book? Are you thinking about that? I'm sure that's the most popular question, right?
Very much so. Never say never.
Right.
But certainly we really are working hard to hopefully get some workshops, because of the response that we had both from the media and followers, that there's been a lot of interest, and we're certainly pursuing locking in dates for workshops, which we will have specifically geared towards women, which will be on our website hopefully soon.
Very nice. That's exciting. So ladies, I'd love to get each of your take individually. What's the number one bit of advice that you would share with the listeners after going through this experience of blogging and then writing the book and going through your own respective 52 weeks? What's your one bit of advice?
Well,
Go.
You go first, Pam.
To try a bunch of different things. That it's okay if you don't like something. The idea is to go out and take a little baby step, and anything that you do does have value and does make a difference, and that can ultimately lead you to something else. It doesn't have to be. You haven't failed. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you haven't failed if you do something and it doesn't work.
Nice. Yeah.
The idea is definitely to try something, anything, just to get your first step out that door.
And we always say also one thing leads to another.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Dance lessons. I always say, you can go to a dance lesson, you may not want to go back, but you might meet, your future employer in the class, or your future boyfriend, or
right.
So, it's the act of doing anything. And you could feel, and this is if you're just going out to play, or if you're doing something more, significant in terms of goals and reaching goals. So
yeah, really, the beauty of it was really so many unexpected opportunities. When you're stuck and when inertia sets in and you don't move forward, there's this loss of the ability to have, to have opportunities put in front of you, and any small thing can lead you to that.
I love it because I think the momentum of life sometimes does sweep us away, right? And we get into a rut, we get into
Absolutely.
this monotonous routine, and we need to mix it up a little bit, even if we are seemingly successful, and I'm doing the air quotes there, right? Because
yes.
Everybody's got a different definition of success.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you get in these patterns and routines no matter who you are. I mean, you could be somebody, I always say this, we have a chapter in the book about wellness, which focuses more on nutrition and, kind of baby steps and big steps in terms of exercise. There are plenty of people, a lot of these alpha women who, exercise every day, but maybe they've been going to the same class, for the last 3 years, do it in their sleep. So, even for them, it's shaking it up and getting out of their exercise comfort zone or whatever it may be. So it's not, everybody has a different 52 list, really.
Very true. Karen Amster-Young and Pam Godwin, thank you so much. What a joy to have you on. You are terrific. You're an inspiration. I loved the 52 Weeks, your book, and the website, the52weeks.com, is alive and well with great resources and information. And I know that our listeners will be checking out the future workshops that are coming soon. Thank you so much for spending time with me on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Take good care. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. True career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.